If he's live, very aggressive, severe flood warning. East Benfrick. Weather forecast UK 24. This is as soon as it gets, guys. Climate change and floods across the county so locally and across the rest of the UK, especially.
To invest more in river defences in rural areas because the production of food is being put at risk. Thousands of acres of crops and productive farmland are now sitting under floodwater left by Storm Henk. The National Farmers Union says that farmers who are expected to let fields of crops flood to protect towns should also be compensated. Our rural affairs correspondent Claire Marshall reports.
Here in Oxfordshire, a glimpse of the struggle that some farmers have had to save their lives.
See, everywhere's flooding, guys.
The area at first light today.
This is seriously bad. You get the floods after and it melts the snow usually, or the snow.
Farmer has 60 acres underneath.
But this is different.
So this is normally fields? Yes, yeah, this should all be planted in wheat. It should have been planted last autumn, but it was just too wet.
Storm Henk came out of nowhere. They didn't predict it very well. Obviously, did they? I did, as usual.
Tell me the impact.
I predicted Storm Henk on the 27th of December 2024.
It'll cost thousands. I need every piece of land to pay because I have to pay rent. I'm not the only farmer around here who's been flooded, but it all goes into the food chain. But not now. Not now.
Storm Henk has left water sitting on vast tracts of land. The National Farmers Union is calling for the government to provide better protection. The Environment Secretary Steve Barclay told the BBC that the government was already investing heavily in flood defences.
The work that the government has done has protected over 500,000 acres of farmland, and of course we're committing more money to future schemes as well, so over £5 billion of investment.
But where is this money best spent? Some believe it should go into changing how the land is used.
Should fields and landscapes like this just be allowed to flood?
With climate change the way it's going, we're not really going to have a choice. A little bit of dredging of the main river will not solve the challenges that the farms now have. But that can't be done unless there's proper value being paid. You are going to get farms going out of business if they're not being rewarded for that nature-based solution of holding the water back.
It's horrendous across the Midlands.
Our winters are likely to get even wetter and scenes like this even more common. The question is whether enough will be done in time to help the most vulnerable.
It's horrendous, guys. Absolute horrendous. It's terrible.
Sunak says the much anticipated general election is likely to be held in the second half of this year. Speaking on a visit in Nottinghamshire, the Prime Minister did not rule out going to the country earlier, but said his working assumption was later this year.
October, basically, September,
October. January 2025. And in his own New Year's speech in Bristol, the Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer said he hoped this year would give the country a chance to vote out the Conservatives. And
well, we are going to vote them out.
Squatting in Downing Street for months on end. Our political editor Chris Mason.
He's just a nasty person, which Sunak is. None of them are great, but he's just trying to hold on power for as long as possible, guys. Let's just face the facts. Always remember, a politician doesn't always do what he's supposed to do. What can you do? Who hates the poor chain for politicians? I do. I wish we had the old kings and queens in Charles like we used in the old days, and monarchy in Charles again. Different time then, wasn't it?
Words that grab attention, say something, but commit to nothing. 150 miles away on a visit to Bristol at exactly the same time, we tell Keir Starmer what Rishi Sunak has just said.
The Prime Minister is now hinting, without setting a date, that it might be later in the year. Squatting in Downing Street for months on end, dithering and delaying when the country wants change.
Zombie government.
Conservatives have a mandate, don't they, to serve in government throughout this year. You can clamour for an early election, but that's the constitutional truth.
Well, what mandate does the third,
the last general election?
The third Prime Minister that they've had since the one in 2019?
And it's not just Keir Starmer with a keen eye on when the election is.
I think the Prime Minister is really scared of the voters. People are fed up with the government's economic policies, with their health policies, and they want change and they want an election. And Liberal Democrats agree with them. Rishi Sunak's just clinging on to power.
I don't think it really matters in the Scottish context whether the election's in May or indeed later on this year, because what we know for certain is that the Tories will get beat, just as they've done in every election in Scotland since 1955.
There you go.
Back here on the outskirts of Bristol, in a spot that Labour needs to win from the Conservatives, Sir Keir took on criticism from one of his own MPs that it's not obvious what he stands for, and he claimed people are increasingly annoyed, irritated by all politicians.
The biggest challenge we face, bar none, the shrug of the shoulder. Because this is the paradox of British politics right now.
We just want boring politics back in charge, not a clown in charge again, basically.
Everyone agrees as well that it's been like this for a while, that Britain needs change, wants change, is crying out for change. And yet, trust in politics is now so low, so degraded, that nobody believes you can make a difference anymore.
It's right like that.
Well, it turns out there may be a little more time than some thought for political leaders, whoever they are, to take this on. Words, crowds, persuasion, promises. 2024 will have a lot of them.
I certainly will.
So what is the Prime Minister saying and what is he not saying today? What we've had,
That's why Uncle lives. He lives in Bristol, my Uncle Martin does.
From Rishi Sunak, because for the best part of next year he has the power to pick the date of the general election. He didn't have to say anything, he could have named a date. He did neither, instead just hinting, suggesting that it'll be in the second half of the year rather than the first half. Why is he doing that? Well, he'll hope to ease off some of the speculation and give himself some space to govern. Why might he be tempted then by the second half of the year? Well, if the election was in the autumn, if it was in October or later, it would mean that he had 2 years as Prime Minister before the election. Go earlier than that, where the opinion poll suggests he might lose, and he would end up with less than 2 years were he to lose. And one other thing, the universal thing, the human psychology of something maybe turning up if he leaves it that little bit later. And what happens if something turns up a little sooner? Well, he could still call the election a little sooner because he hasn't ruled anything out.
Oh, he's going. Doesn't
Many
matter what he
thanks.
does, he's
Chris
going.
Mason there in a rainy Bristol. Now on the second day of a 6-day strike by junior doctors.
Oh, that's quite sad, isn't it? Please subscribe to my show on Sunday Jones. Of course, people always listen to my friend's Biking Gym, but every Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Surrey Hills Ratio. ITF Friday Feeling, Surrey Hills Ratio show. And this is my friend Shay for the years every Friday at 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on the Surrey Hills Race show on the same day as well. Every Friday. And this is my friend John and Lara show every Sunday at 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. on the Woking radio station show every Sunday at 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Please subscribe to my show on Sunday AGLs. And of course, people always can spot the needs and the money. We need to like this video. Thanks for watching the video. Subscribe to my show on Sunday AGLs. Thanks for watching. Bye.